Today we are going to be driving to City Barbecue again. However, I did drop a pin this time rather than just navigate to City Barbecue. And oddly enough, the pin that seems to be dropped didn't actually end up where I expected it to be. But what we're going to do is just see how it does with the pin drop instead of navigating to the destination. As well as I wanted to talk a little bit about FSD version 14, what's going on with that. So this car looks like they're gonna stop here. Okay, yeah, that was a little confusing. We were stopped and then they were gonna stop. I think they were stopping at the house that's for sale, and they were just gonna take a look at that. So no big deal. So we will see, hopefully this point that I marked for the pin is going to be in the parking lots of City Barbecue. If not, that's going to be unfortunate. Fitchburg Drive. Might should check on that. Once we get out on the road, I might try to do a little bit better job of dropping the pin. Just try it one more time instead of letting it find the wrong location there. But so we did get some news on FSD version 14. We have version 14.1.2, which is released. And I guess for now, I'm just going to focus on this. This is an unprotected left here. We've got 2 lanes going either direction. My preference would be to just wait for clear on both sides. We do have cars coming in both directions at the moment, and we have this individual on the median, so we can't go now. Okay, now's a pretty good time. Don't creep out there though. I don't think you should ever creep across the lanes there. I don't really like that. It should really try to get out into that median as quickly as possible and then make the move into the other lane. But it was actually clear all the way, so there's really no reason for it to hesitate at all. But it did complete that maneuver okay, so that's fine. So anyway, we've got version 14.1.2. It comes with Mad Max mode. I don't really know who, if anybody, was actually asking for that, which is kind of funny because they were saying it's going to be this anticipated new feature that was going to be added to FSD. And it turned out to just be a speed profile that, again, still doesn't give you any ability to control the exact speed that you're going to be going. It just controls the overall profile, which does lend itself to different speeds. It does sound like they changed the profiles from the Sloth to Mad Max to have more specific speed profiles in between each one, so that you can just switch the speed profile and that's how you're going to regulate the speed. However, I still wish they would have brought something back for you to actually cap out the speed, because as of now, it sounds like they're actually not doing well with school zones. All right, what are we doing here? Okay, this guy is waiting to go. He's blocking our lane. All right, that's not great. And he's just gonna give up and turn right. No, he just full on wants to block. It's interesting. Interesting move there. That's I wouldn't say the most courteous move he could have made, but whatever. FSD handles it fine. So with these different speed profiles, and I usually keep it in standard. That's the one I have most luck with. So right in the middle, that's the standard one. And with school zones, you can't rely on the speed profiles. You have to do the max, because right now it does not seem to fully respond to, or at least consistently respond to, all of the school zones, which means in a school zone, I'm going to have to disengage if the speed profile thinks that it's 45 when it's actually 25. So definitely going to be interesting to see how they work on that. And then also, they're not going to release wide release until 14.2. Now, these point releases have gotten really good reviews from the early beta testers. They're saying that it's ready to go, wide release, everything's ready to go. But with each one of these point releases, they have released an additional feature, and they're smoothing out some stuff. So I'm not so sure that they're ready to go wide release as far as the features that they want to have. So they might have the beta testers do some more testing on some new features that they want to roll out. We'll see about that. But obviously, I'm really anxious to get 14.2 and see how that goes. I am obviously not in the early beta testers, so I have not gotten that. So, all right, let's go ahead and redrop this pin here. We're going to just edit the trip. No, let's just end the trip, and we'll redrop the pin here in the back of the parking lot there. See if we get a better result. Okay, so the pin is at the back of the parking lot now. So this should get us into the parking lot. Hopefully it will choose to park. I'm trying to find ways to get FSD to do more of what I actually wanted to do. It seems like there's a decent number of destinations where you try to get it to go to that destination, and it doesn't have the exact right location once it gets there. In this case, it thought City Barbecue was basically in the middle of this intersection based on the address. So it would just do circles around it. But now we'll get to see what it tries to do here. It should turn into this back parking lot here. Yep. And then we'll see if it tries to park. Obviously, 13 doesn't really have any choice of whether you want to park or you want to go through the drive-through, or you want to, park in the parking lot or pull up to the curb, or if there's a parking deck. It doesn't have any of that, so we'll just see what it's going to do here. And all right, so it just stops here in front of City Barbecue, which honestly is a perfectly fine option. So first try, you drop the pin, it actually does exactly what I would want it to do as far as if I was just getting dropped off at City Barbecue, so that's fine. They're definitely going to have to fix, though, that navigation issue. And hopefully on 14, it does actually, when you tell it to park in the parking lot, it'll actually park in the parking lot rather than just do loops around. So let's try another destination. And again, I will drop the pin and see if instead of this situation where it just dropped us off in front, we'll see if it actually goes to the destination and tries to park. It can't seem to get a consistent result of whether it's going to park or whether it's going to try to drop me off at the front of the location. In this case, it's going to be a Publix. But again, we're just doing a dropped pin. It should not actually drop me off in front of Publix. It doesn't even know whether I want to go to Publix or some of the other stores in that shopping center. So hopefully it will appropriately take me to a parking space, and we'll see. I did get it to successfully park at the Home Depot parking lot. It did a little bit of weird loop around a couple times before it decided to park, but it did actually park, and it actually did a decent job parking, so that was interesting. This time we are starting from park in a parking space, which I just put us in, and we will see how it does getting us to Publix. So right off the bat, immediately starts going backwards. And I guess we will note that I did just as bad of a parking job as it did at Home Depot on that other video. So, okay, I'm not perfect either, but the car should be able to get perfectly in between the two lines. So that's really what I would gauge on it, because it has cameras all around it, and it knows exactly where the edges of the vehicle are. So it should be able to do a better job parking than I can every time, not just when I'm trying to do a really good job. So, all right, and we're clear here on the left. All right, so that's nice. Got it out of the parking lot, nice and easy. So we'll have to see when we get version 14 and whether version 14 fixes some of these navigational issues. It seems to be some sort of navigational issue. I don't think it's actually an issue with FSD. It's not designed to, for 13, it's not designed to give you the option to either park along the curb or park in the parking spot or in a parking deck or a driveway. It doesn't give you any of those options. So 14 is supposed to give you those options, and therefore I would expect it to get you to those locations. So in the event that I navigate to a city barbecue, even though the pin or the exact address of that location says that it's in the intersection, if I say that I want to park in a parking lot, then it should know to go into the parking lot where at least close to or in the vicinity of whatever that address is. And I should be able to do that by just picking city barbecue, because I certainly wouldn't want the situation in a robo-taxi to be, oh, I have to pick a pin to drop it where I want it to stop, rather than just say, hey, I want to go to this restaurant. Obviously, most people are going to say, I just want to go to this restaurant. And a normal driver, like an Uber driver or whatever, would be able to take you to that location, and they wouldn't, question whether you actually wanted to be in the parking lot of that particular restaurant. So it's going to have to be able to start reading signs, I think, and see context clues of like, what is the destination? It's going to be interesting to see those small edge cases, how it handles those, because I don't think it handles a lot outside of like what is on the road. Right now it's just looking at the lane lines, it's looking at the lights and the stop signs, but it's not so much looking at the context of, is this building a restaurant, or is it, does it have a parking lot? Is there a drive-through that you want to go through? It's not really doing any of those things at this point. All right, so traffic is not great here. So this will be fun. We'll have to merge on here. This is another thing that I don't really like how FSD does it sometimes, is merging. It kind of waits until the last second to get on and then pushes itself in. We really could have started trying to get in there as soon as that line was a dotted line. It works out. I've never had any problem with it actually being able to merge, but sometimes I feel like it does it in a way that's a little bit less courteous than I would prefer. Again, I don't like it when it goes to the end of the merging lane before it tries to get on. It did an okay job this time, but sometimes it just stays over there a little bit longer than I would prefer. Again, just a preference thing, and it doesn't actually create a critical disengagement or anything like that. Usually I do disengage just to merge on earlier, to be a little bit more, in my opinion, courteous, because I don't really like it when people like race down to the end of the merge lane and then cut in front of a bunch of people. Again, just seems like a more courteous way to do it is to just try to get in as early as you can to, somebody will just let you in. That's the preferred way. All right, so we do have the address here, and it is going to, let's see, it looks like it's going to go in through the, this is actually an Arby's, so it looks like it's going to turn and then go into the Arby's parking lot, or through the Arby's parking lot to get to the Publix parking lot, which will be interesting if it does that. I don't think that would be the preferred way. I think you'd want to go just this road right here that goes directly to the parking lot, but right, so here we are. We can actually stay all the way to the right, which would be good. All right, sometimes it likes to get over to the left lane and then go back into the turn lane, which is no good. All right, so we're turning here. Again, this road will go directly to the parking lot we want. If it turns left here into the Arby's parking lot, then yeah, which it is. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it says delivery trucks are supposed to go that way. Not great, because, well, anyway, it's just easier to go the other way. I don't know why I wouldn't do that way. Now, it is a little bit less safe, I guess, because sometimes people don't yield there and they don't see you because there's like bushes and stuff. So maybe it's just taking the safer route. I really think it's just the navigation told it to go this route, but whatever. All right, so here we are. We are in the parking lot. The pin is anywhere up here, so really, if it does park like this, this would be just what I asked it to do. Yes. Yeah, okay. And it is going to be considering that done. Now, that is a extremely poor parking job. I can't really get it to show the lane lines at the moment. Actually, if I put it back in drive, so you can see, this is actually what the lane lines are. This is where our car is in relation to these lane lines. This is, I mean, these parking spot lines. Yeah, we're in 4 spaces. So FSD 13 decided, yeah, let's just park in 4 spaces at once. Definitely not great, but hey, we're at our destination. It made it without any intervention, no disengagement or anything. So, you know, it's hard to complain too much because, again, we weren't able to specify that we wanted to actually park in a spot. We just put a pin, and I guess maybe this is exactly where the pin is, just in the middle of the parking lot. But other people are probably not too thrilled. Of course, this guy's just driving through the parking lot, through the parking spaces, like, no big deal. Let me just correct this parking a little bit so I'm not so much in an awkward space. All right, so now we're actually in the space. All right, so that's it for this one. We did have 2 nice drives there. We did get to the destination exactly how we would want to get to the destination. We went to the dropped pin. There was no hesitation with navigation or anything like that. It was a little bit weird how it went through that Arby's parking lot, although I would forgive it because technically that other entrance is a truck entrance, it says, but really, everybody can drive through there. There's no reason only trucks can drive through there, and it goes right to this parking lot where we wanted to be. And it did do a very poor job of parking, but again, we are not able to specify that we wanted it to actually park any parking space, so I guess that's okay for now. So anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching.